Cocktails is the 17th episode of the third season of The Office. This is directed by J.J. Abrams, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And I don't have too many thoughts. I didn't love this episode, but there are two moments that I really enjoyed. Well, one was funny, one was very unexpected. And I'll talk about those when we get there. It starts off with Michael. He's been learning magic. He tries to escape from his chains and, well, he drops the key and Jim steps on the key. And I loved how that bit was filmed. And it was funny. It was okay. But the bit I liked the most was when we kind of got to experience just how much time has passed because we cut to Michael talking to the camera, still tied up. I thought it worked very well. There are two main parts of the narrative. And one of them involves a party at the CFO's house with Michael, Jan, Karen and Jim, and one with everybody else going to Poor Richard's, the pub. And that's where most of my interest is, so I'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, we're at this party. The atmosphere is really strong. There are a lot of people there. It's very busy. Honestly, I felt a little bit anxious because it's a very busy environment. And Michael and Jan have decided to go as a couple for the first time, and Karen and Jim are also there. And Karen told Jim she used to date somebody who was there, and I believed her. And then I thought she was doing it to wind Jim up, and then she took it too far, and we realised she was just making it all up. And honestly, I don't know why. Was she just playing with Jim the way Jim and Pam play with each other, or was she trying to see how he'd react? Because the way she reacted to Jim revealing he kissed Pam is not how Jim reacted when he found out Karen had potentially been with somebody there. So I don't know what her motivation was, but I didn't really care for it. Dwight spends the episode feeling the house up, basically. And there is one very creepy moment where he sits in this rocking chair and the CFO's child is in bed, and it was just a very, very bizarre moment. And then at the end of the night, as I said, I don't have too many thoughts on this. We're nearly at the end of this part of the narrative. But at the end of the night, Michael and Jan are in the car and they had a bit of a fight. And it seems like they might be breaking up. And honestly, it was fine. But this is the funniest moment, and I really enjoyed it because Dwight just emerges from the back of the car, and it was unexpected and very funny, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that moment. I actually don't know how I feel about Michael and Jan. I like Jan when she's not with Michael, but also I think she's a very well-written character. I think she knows that she's made the situation quite complicated, and I think it's a very well part of the narrative. It's very believable. I completely buy everything that she says, everything that she feels, but I don't know if I'm enjoying it. So I'm kind of, if they break up completely, I'm indifferent. But I don't know, I can't see it lasting too long. But I've learned to not predict things with The Office because I'm always wrong. And then we come to the scenes at Poor Richard's. Honestly, pretty boring as well. There was this whole thing with a claw machine and a duck soft toy that was kind of cute. And Pam has decided to be more assertive and to actually say things when she's thinking things, and she insists that Roy goes to the pub with them because they have to start doing things together as a couple. I will say he already had plans, so it's not fair of Pam to ask him to drop his plans. But at the same time, yeah, Roy does need to actually start being a couple and doing things together rather than just doing everything his own way. So I understand, but at the same time, if he decided not to turn up, I don't think that would have been a bad thing because he already had plans. But he does. Roy turns up anyway. And Pam is further standing her ground because she got 2 beers. One of them was meant to be light. She got the wrong one. And for a second, she was about to walk away, then realised, no, I'm going to say something. And the bartender was just like, okay, and fix the problem. So definitely, I think a good message there for anybody who, like Pam, doesn't like to cause problems. And obviously saying, oh, I got the wrong beer isn't causing problems, but I understand it. I completely understand the anxiety of saying, hello, I'm about to cause a minor problem. So I really like the message there. And they were playing this game with a coin. I imagine it's a common pub game, but I don't frequent pubs, so I don't really know what they were doing. But nevertheless, in that moment, Roy said he could read Pam. Pam couldn't keep anything from him, and Pam kind of had a look that definitely said he still doesn't know about Jim. which I'd never really thought about before. I don't know. I can't imagine she went to Roy. Well, we know she didn't, but I never ever thought she went, oh, Jim kissed me. I realised I don't love you the way I love him, so we're not getting married. I never thought that happened. But I never really considered just how much Roy knows. And apparently he knows nothing. And she decided to tell him, I want this relationship to work, so let's not have any secrets. And he seems okay with this. And to Roy's credit, he did say to her, he never cheated, he never did anything. Which is in Roy's credit, where it's due. Granted, that's not a huge thing to ask of somebody. And Pam then said, well, she explained that Jim kissed her about a month before they were due to get married. And it was like a switch. Roy started shouting. He got violent. Pam said, this is over, walked out, and it just escalated things. And honestly, I didn't expect it. I really didn't see it coming. And it's scary. And then we end the episode outside of the pub, and Roy says, quite calmly, which makes it all the more chilling, he's going to kill Jim. Now, this is a comedy show, so I don't imagine it's going to get too heavy, but also I have absolutely zero idea what's going to happen next. I do like the fact that hopefully Pam and Roy are now over, because I really need some forward movement with Pam and Jim. But at the same time, I don't want Roy to touch Jim at all. So honestly, as I said, I've learned to not try and predict how things will go in the office, because I'm wrong all of the time. But I'm nervous, but I'm excited to see what happens next. As I said, this isn't a favourite episode, but that moment when Roy completely flipped was so powerful. It made the whole episode worthwhile. The only other, I don't know if I can call that a highlight, but certainly it's the most powerful moment, but the only other moment that I really enjoyed was when Dwight just kind of emerged from the back of the car. I thought it was very well done, quite sinister. Dwight was quite creepy in this episode, but it was very well handled. So it's not a bad episode, but it certainly isn't ever going to be a personal highlight. But that being said, Cocktails is not too bad, and I'm nervous and excited for the next episode. As I said, I don't like to predict because I'm always wrong with The Office, but I also don't know what I want. I would love it. No, maybe. If, you see, I'm confusing myself. I don't think Roy would make a scene at The Office, but how else is he going to confront Jim? Maybe in the parking lot, and he'll start yelling and shouting at him, and obviously Jim will realise he's no longer with Pam, and Pam, I don't know. Maybe Pam will come to his rescue. I've got no idea. I won't bother trying to predict it. I will just wait and watch the next episode. Cannot wait for it. Very excited. No idea what to expect.